Okay, so we're all cozy. We have our happy fall and pumpkin blankets on, and some spiders and spider webs on the mirror. I don't know if you can see that. And sparkly pumpkins on the table in the back, of course. So, yeah, we've been having a girly fall festive week. So, this is my bestie Zara. She's here in Miami visiting me for a week or so. We're towards the end of it now, sadly, but it's been great. And we've known each other for a very long time. You may even be my first friend. Probably. Maybe I knew some people in like preschool. I don't know what age you are when you go to preschool, but
I think 5.
yeah, okay. But I think we've been friends since 6, which is pretty great.
Our older brothers were friends.
Yes, we used to do this thing, do you know, every time we'd say goodbye, we'd have a goodbye, and it was like,
us too.
and then we'd kiss, and we'd say ciao, and that was our little dance that we did. That was our party trick. We showed all our parents. Is that whenever we left?
Oh my gosh.
Ciao, and then
because you're both
because we were so extra.
That is so funny.
I know. And then we left for a decade because you're also Australian, so she went back to Australia, and then eventually got reconnected.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, which has been so much fun. And it's so funny how that happens. I was about to move home also because my dad was having surgery. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm not ready to move home because I have no friends there. Like I didn't have a good experience in elementary school or high school and you were gone. And then those were the years you were gone for. But then we were both in our hometowns at the same time. And then you, of course, were going through things with the fires, if you're okay talking about that, like the fires that happened where we grew up in LA. And my dad was going through open heart surgery.
So we're just going through it.
Yeah.
So let's love it together.
We were both in our hometowns for the same reasons, similar reasons, just being back. But yeah, so we got reconnected again, and then, yes, our besties again. Yes, we love a decade-long bestie reunion. Lovely.
Love it.
Okay, cool. And anyways, we have a perfect topic for today, and one of the ones we're going to be getting into is just friendships where you have like different religious beliefs. So Zara's not Christian, but she can share her own thoughts and story and like journey on that also. We'll just get into like some hot topics of like, can you be friends with people who aren't Christian? Obviously is the short answer of that, and how you can learn from each other. So yeah, first what I'll have you share is the same thing I'll have essentially every guest I'll share in general, which is just sort of like your journey of spirituality, if at all. So some people who come on are going to be obviously Christian women, some people won't be, and maybe they'll be another religion or not at all. Some people have been Christian before, some people have never been Christian or been other religions before. So yeah, if you want to just start like that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, when I was born, I was baptized. I grew up in a Catholic family. My grandma, my Mona, she's Catholic, and my dad grew up Catholic as well, but over time he didn't go to church as much. Like he wasn't the Catholic who would go every Sunday. It was mostly like Easter, Christmas, and
yes. I think they call it a holiday Catholic, Easter Catholic or something. I forget the term.
It's a holiday Catholic. And so my brother and I were as well. I was like baptized. I had my first communion. I had the classes when I was growing up for a church. And
was your mom religious?
My mom, So my mom grew up Buddhist Catholic, Buddhist Christian.
Cool. Okay.
She grew up Buddhist Christian. My grandfather, he grew up on my mom's side. He grew up in Asia and grew up Buddhist, but later in his life he became Christian.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then my grandmother, she grew up Catholic and then stopped wasn't like, you know, Catholic and like, you know,
Yeah.
what do you say, like you're not anymore? Well, it's not really, I don't know what the term is, but yeah, so then she stopped, but she aligned herself more with the Buddhist religion. So she like was leaning towards that more. I don't know if she fully is, like we don't really go to temples on Chinese New Year and stuff, but
Yeah.
But then also my stepmother, who I grew up with when I moved to Australia, she is Buddhist as well. So we would go to the temple.
Very cool. Okay.
So there'd be a few holidays we would go to. You know, we didn't go often, but it would be like a few times a year, and we would go and pray for the different gods that would help you for different reasons, like the fertility god or the god of knowledge. And she'd be like, "Oh, you got that test coming up. Here's some sticks. Go pray." And I'd be like, "Okay."
Okay, so that's cool. That means you basically got like a cool introduction to both Buddhism and Christianity.
Yeah, my mom's Buddhist now. I went with her to do some Buddhist classes as well.
Okay, love that. Yeah. And then so is that what you would say like you are? Do you lean towards either, or have you, or neither?
I don't
or
know.
None at all? Like, do you like, it's cool to have an introduction to both, and then both being so different in so many ways on like the spectrum of, you know, type of major religions. I'd say Buddhism and Christianity are pretty different. Like divisions compared to like Judaism versus Christianity, pretty similar, or Buddhism, Hinduism, you know. So that's cool that they're kind of like different sides. But yeah, I mean, what are your takeaways? Do you have any like, where do you fall now? Do you feel like you have any spiritual inclinations of your own?
I think that even though they are quite different, the bottom line of those religions, and I don't know about other religions, but I feel like it would be for a lot of religions, is like just loving people, loving your neighbor, being respectful, and being kind. And like from what I hear from Christianity, that seems like the bottom line of it. Yeah. And then for Buddhism, that really is like, that's why they have like the monks living in the mountains, like that their whole thing is just to be. I actually don't know what they're like it seems like they're just like peas.
Yeah, that's true. For my take on it, although I want to hear yours like clearly separately, I've read that like in Buddhism, it's a bit more internal. Both are like internal, but in Buddhism, like it's a big on like your internal conscious, your internal thoughts. Yeah. More like that kind of internal peace, acceptance, all of that sort of stuff, versus which is part of the premise behind like taking yourself away into solitude and silence, like having control over your mind and stuff like that, which are all like amazing disciplines and practices and very useful. But
it's a very disciplined religion. Very
well. So what about the differences? Like having kind of gotten a pretty cool first-hand experience of being taken to some like Christian Catholic settings and many Buddhist settings as well, with people who are Buddhist themselves. What are the main differences you saw between Buddhism and Christianity that you've seen?
That's a great question.
Like for better or worse.
But I think mainly like, obviously, like, the church and the temple is very different. That's one in itself.
Like, different, like, physically?
Like,
or, like, what it represents?
Yeah, like, physically, definitely, because you have the statues of each of the gods that they're representing, and there's many gods. There are a lot of gods.
Yeah, because it's polytheist is probably one of the biggest differences.
I would say that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
But, and then there's, like, these, like, little mats where you kneel, and you pray, and you do, like, you can, like, shake sticks, or you can light the incense and put it into the main air. I don't know the technical words for it, but I think like Christianity really has a community sense. I would say they like, you all sit together, you all speak together, you all listen to the same person. Like you're all more together, I would say.
Versus in the temple, more individual.
Yeah, it is more
prayer with an individual God. I see. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like you guys have like sermons and stuff at certain times, and everyone goes at the same time. The temple, whenever people are in and out, people are throwing their shoes off, taking their shoes on, like it's very quick.
By the way, guys, you probably can't tell on camera, but Zara has the most stunning eyes possible. I can't even stare into her eyes for that long at a time because I like actually get blinded. So I like want this to show up on camera. The lighting is making her she's so tan. been tanning nonstop all week. This camera's making her look pale.
Like Casper, it's okay.
We'll switch halfway through so people understand. Like,
I'm like, it's even worse.
Anyways,
no, I still look pale.
But that's like
Tara's also just insanely tan.
I guess I'm pretty tan right now. I don't know, but guys, I'm working on the lighting. I don't know how to do any of this technical stuff, so we'll work on that. But this is not even accurate. Like, you should be able to see the stunning green eyes, but we'll switch and then we'll show on camera hopefully. But anyways, okay. Sorry, I always get distracted by that. But okay, so one question I have is: have you ever felt like in any of those circumstances, whether it was like a Christian or Catholic church, Buddhist temple, have you ever felt a moment where you felt like moved spiritually? I'm not really a very like spiritual person in the sense of like more of like an emotional way. To me, it's very intellectual and like action oriented. But people are so different on that, and so some people are more like it's emotional spiritual experiences or stuff like that. But obviously, it sounds like basically you probably wouldn't call yourself either Buddhist or Christian. But I'm still curious if you ever felt like there was a moment you felt some sort of connection with God or some deity from a Buddhist temple or something like that.
I have felt on both sides, definitely. Like, I'm a very emotional person as well. I think I hold a lot of empathy, and whenever I'm in those kind of situations, I just I feel a lot of things. I just feel a lot.
You are such a feeler. We're both such feelers. I think it's just the Italian, but you're such a feeler and a giver, and so like present with people, which is obviously one of like the biggest signs of like one of the biggest parts of charm is how present you are with people. And I'm honestly so surprised for being someone who's so like very in with life that you wouldn't have some sort of spirituality behind it, because it's like I just feel like that goes hand in hand sometimes. Like if you feel a lot, sometimes you'll also be, maybe one's more likely to be religious or something, but maybe not. I don't know. But tell us more about those moments where you felt some sort of like connection, spiritual connection.
Yeah, I think first one that comes to mind is when I was going to a church camp after high school. It was our senior year, and it was right at the end. I was in America at the time, because I did like 6 months of senior year. And yeah, we went to a church camp at the high school, and it was so much fun. It was like, I stepped off the bus when we got there, and I just cried immediately. Yeah. Like, it was just so beautiful, the area it was in California. It was just so beautiful. And they had, like, everyone was just lined up, like, clapping, welcoming everybody. And all my friends were like, Zara, get yourself together, because I'm just, like, crying.
Wait, so it was, like, a Catholic church camp? Wait, what was
Catholic
it?
or Christian?
Christian church camp.
Interesting. But it was, or maybe it was one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure, but I just remember, like, it was just so beautiful. When I first got there, that was just, like, my first reaction of it. Yeah. And then, like, we would have, like, every night we would go to the church and pray and, like, listen to the people. And it was really fun. It was really beautiful. But I think there was one part of it, we were singing songs, and one of the women there, she had a beautiful voice, and she was just singing, like, so beautifully. It really moved me a lot. And then we were all praying together, and that just like really moved me. Yeah.
Did you leave it coming away like feeling any different though about life, or
I felt more grateful for what I have?
Okay, that's very
grateful and happy that I had that experience.
Yeah.
I made friendships. I came out of that with like very strong friendships.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, I don't know, like sometimes I feel like I have these moments, especially with the music, but then I go to a concert and I'm like, fuck yeah, just live music. So I'm like, maybe
it could just be music, it could just be people around, it could just be,
that's what I'm saying.
Kind of like amplify it, but
exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, oh, this is so great, and I'll be like, I feel the exact same way. I don't know if you're ready to a concert, but like,
exactly.
I'm not.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I still think like it is really beautiful, and I just like love hearing all their stories and they're just such wonderful people. I've met every person that I've met and like connected with, they're just such wonderful
They
people.
as in at church camp?
Yes, at church camp and like outside of church and when I go to church now.
Yeah.
Like it's just
yeah. So so obviously I wasn't religious for the majority of my life. I was like specifically against religion for the majority of my life. But I ended up coming to it just because there was just some like answers.
I remember
some
when you
like
told me, I was like
floored.
I thought you were joking at first. I was like,
yeah.
And then you're like, I was like, okay,
no,
yeah.
serious.
And I just accepted it. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I'm someone who like feels deeply and thinks deeply, and I was just like feeling and thinking everything and just like needed a base. I don't know, I need like a floor, so it's like grounding.
Mm-hmm.
So and now like I could not imagine living life without my faith, but I don't know, for you, like what's your source of like reason or motivation? To me, I'm a very social person, but I'm not naturally a very others oriented person, which is one of the great things that my faith has taught me is how to be more others focused, like very self focused, which is great when you have a lot of personal ambition and accomplishment and blah blah blah. Like it's very effective for becoming very self actualized. Like having a strong sense of self is wonderful. Yeah. But I do feel like for a very long time I wasn't very like others focused, and since it was just me, myself, and I, like that's a very good and easy way to go crazy very quickly. Mm-hmm. So my guess is that maybe for you, that is maybe you can answer for yourself though, like a source of meaning. Basically for me, my universe was before faith, honestly. Like I loved my family and everything, but it was so self-focused and it was just me, myself, and I. And if all life is you, yourself, and I, then like what is the purpose there? What is like the meaning behind continuing other than just like to continue yourself, which just I got to a point where I was like, that's like not enough of a reason, like logically, like why do I need to be here if it's just for my sake, like because living is not fun, so why be here? So I kind of needed that. Faith is what gave me that reason to live, essentially, like something beyond just myself. And obviously don't worry about it, it's probably at IKEA. But yeah, that kind of like came with it, all of the blessings, of course, that come from transforming your heart when you find Jesus, what have you. Yeah. But yeah, so for you, like that was why I needed religion. I just, my life was me, myself, and I. Yeah. And at the end of the day, when life isn't fun, if all you have is yourself, why keep living? That's the point I got to. Mm-hmm. And that's why I ended up seeking out faith, because I had nothing to lose and nowhere to go. So that's why, and obviously I got so much more out of it even beyond that, but that was my reason. But so for you, obviously you're not especially religious or spiritual. So what's your kind of like reason? What's your like meaning? What like keeps you going when life gets hard, I guess?
Yeah. I think I do have a lot of close relationships and friendships, like us, like my favorite cousin, my best friends, and like different continents. Like I visit, I try to see them as often as I can, but I think it's like I do have the people around me that I do love and cherish so deeply, and family as well. Like I do love my family so much. But I guess
do you have a deeper why? And maybe, I mean, probably, I was someone who like at 12 was questioning like from a philosophical point of view the meaning of life and how every single day made sense. So I like needed an answer to the question of like why be here. But maybe just other people don't need that level of like
and even answer. Like I have wondered, like, as every early 20-year-old is like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
What the heck can I do? Yeah. What am I doing with my life? And what am I going to do that makes me happy? But I guess like I think everyone has a purpose, and even if I do have an interaction with someone that's negative, there was a purpose in that interaction. I've learned something from everything. Everything that I've been through, good or bad, is to teach me something and to make me a better person.
Yeah. Great growth mindset.
Yeah. And I think that
So what's your purpose though? Like what's your
my purpose? Live life.
Yeah. Okay, well that's fine too. I just mean so like what your why is. And it's fine to have a why that's enjoy life.
Yeah.
You know?
I think like my like short answer is like when people say I'm like YOLO, like you really only live once, why do something you're unhappy with? That's my always first thought. Like just do something that you're happy with. Even like a job or something. Like I was really fulfilled in my job for a long time and then I was like, this isn't fulfilling to me anymore. So I'm going down a new career path and you know, where I was living in Brisbane, like it wasn't fulfilling me. So I decided to move back to Pasadena. Like I just you know, I do things that make me happy, but I do also keep connections with people who I very carefully deep about because I think that drives me a lot.
Yeah. So it sounds like, just to use more of like to give a term to what you're describing, it sounds like your kind of worldview, meaning, purpose, stuff like that would probably be pretty like hedonistic. That's what mine was for like a very, very long time. It's my dad as well, like same vibes. Like really just the purpose of life is to make the most of it, enjoy it, and essentially seek out pleasure, like to explore, for the fun, the pleasure of it, which is again, like totally fine too, of a worldview to have, especially if the pleasures you're seeking after are truly fulfilling ones, like relationships, new experiences. Obviously, like a hedonistic worldview where it's like drugs and you know, sex or something like that is not going to be constructive or as actually fulfilling. Like might not actually lead to the happiness you're after. But in general, like a perspective like that, where, and again, not to bring it all back to the fact that we're Italian, but I will say, in my personal belief, like a big part of like Italian culture, it's like you enjoy life. That is the purpose of enjoying life. It's like family, friends, food. It's, you know what I mean? It's like the good pleasures of life. It's those simple things, but that is the Italian way of doing things, like so truly. And again, that's how I was for like a very long time. But I also think that I was so like, you know, I just like I did also though have I've just got a very active brain that just like will not turn off. So like I found, like I got to the point where I was like, okay, well I do have everything in life. Like I have, even if I have all this pleasure in the world, it's like I'm still sad though at the end of the day. So for me it was sort of just like still finding myself anxious and depressed, even though I lived an incredibly pleasurable leisure life, that I was like, so this isn't working either. And again, that was just like the case for me though, because, you know, maybe I leaned more towards having like anxiety or depressive symptoms, and not everyone has those issues. They can do a good job at seeking after pleasurable experiences and being fulfilled in that happiness. And, you know, that's,
I think it also comes down to when you are like living just a very nice, pleasurable life, to get lost in it and not be grateful in it. And I think that's also been very, like growing up around religion, a lot of things is to be grateful for what you have.
Yeah.
So I've always tried not to take advantage of what I have, and like not to feel like I didn't have enough or feel like I deserve more. Like I've always, I guess like maybe it was like the way I was brought up or just my natural way of thinking, but I've always been like, I want to help people and I want to be grateful.
The reason I think you have still done such a good job at being such a deep feeler, but still having like, still being able to handle life well and actually get the fulfillment out of it without, you know, I don't know everything about your mental health journey, but I think it's because of this, without like, you know, anxiety, depression, or going crazy. Like, I mean, I feel like many people do when they like seek after pleasure, they're not finding it, so they're just miserable forever. I think it is the strength and quality of your social relationships. Like you're such a relationship-oriented person. And I really do think that is like that there is so much fulfillment in giving from that. And it's so funny because in like as we've gotten to talk about more this past week since we've been like getting ready to maybe have, this kind of conversation, but on camera and everything, but one of the central teachings of Christian faith is just to love each other well. And I think and of course a lot of religions have similar messages too. And I think the reason you've been able to like live such a perfectly fine, happy life, you have a great mindset on things, at least I mean, is because that is just something that is natural to you. Like loving others well and having that be your focus in life is just something that comes naturally to you. And so I think that's why you don't like you've already got the message and you already live it out every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and again, this is like a personal statement, but in my head, you might not call yourself Christian, but to me, I can think of you as Christian because I define Christian as following the teachings of Jesus. The primary teaching of Jesus, when he's asked what is the greatest commandment, it's to love God, which maybe is less like relevant to you, but also in the same lens of that, love your neighbor as yourself and just love others well. So in my opinion, if you're someone who follows the teaching of Jesus because you are so good at loving others well, which you are, then to me you're Christian. So you don't have to call yourself Christian, but in my head you're Christian. So maybe people are gonna like hate that I have to say that, but I don't care. Like the message is the mission, like that's why Jesus came down. So yeah, like that's my take on it. And I think you've already got it right because you understand the importance of relationships and others and gratitude and presence and all of those things that for some people like myself, that was not natural. That was not what I was living with for literally decades. And it took surrendering and leaving my entire life before to just now strive to be like Jesus and to follow the teachings of Jesus to come to a conclusion that is basic to many people, perhaps, and like to you, which is just to love others well. Unfortunately, that was just not like default to me.
That's like a lot of stories that I do hear because they would have people like when I have been to churches and they would come up and like tell their stories. A lot of them is like very similar to yours, like just the mental health wise or even like just their physical life wise, like they just needed that.
And stand on it. And there's other stuff that people can get from it. Like for me, obviously the biggest difference, like I never had struggles with addiction or stuff like that, but I definitely have struggles with or sin. It's not really something that was like an issue for me, but things like anxiety, depression, a lack of strong, healthy relationships, like friendships, was definitely like something I needed teaching and instruction on to try and heal and fix and improve. And I really did need the Bible and the teachings of Jesus to teach me those things and instruct me on a better way to live. And obviously I'm infinitely happier and more fulfilled than I ever was before, still having like a similar hedonistic mindset, but one that was still like all about me. I think it's an issue when have like a hedonistic mindset, all I'm after is pleasure and self-serving, when you still are only depending on yourself, because it's so lonely. And I think that was what like the hardest struggle I ever faced in general in my life was just loneliness. And that was probably the hardest thing. And honestly, since I was, like I'm literally just realizing this now, literally since I was a little kid, like I was lucky to have your friendship, but from like the time I was in like kindergarten up, just did not have friends, like never had friends. Could not make friends to save my life. I guess maybe I was just a terrible person or something, but like I just
some people are just unlucky in those senses. You just weren't in an environment that you could have grown.
I think I was just, I'm just saying this in, kind of an objective way, like for better or worse, and it came with a lot of worse, but I just, maybe intellectually, like maturity-wise, I was just always so many decades, honestly, ahead. Like when I was 10, the only people I could make friends with were the 40-year-old parents of like my classmates or the 40-year-old parents of my brother's like sports team. Like it was parents, like adults were the only people I could ever connect with from such a young age. No kids my age. That came with some good stuff, but it's so isolating and sad when you have no friends though. And that was hard. And obviously like all blessings come with a curse unless you learn to balance it out yourself. And so I just could not make friends, and so young, and really, I like just so very quickly by the time I was like 11, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I honestly just truly told myself, okay, whatever, just obviously as a defense mechanism, but friends are overrated. I don't need people. I don't need anyone but myself. The only person opinions that matter about myself is myself. And that was just my defense mechanism to just being so incapable of being able to make friends when I was a kid. And again, like it was not just because, oh, I was like smarter, didn't have shared interests, thinking about other like adult things. Like, no, I also was just a bad person too. Like I'm sure I was just a very bad friend in general. Like maybe I don't know, but I'm sure it was not just, oh, I was so advanced, that's why I could make friends. Like I know there was things I just was not good at that just did not come naturally to me. Putting others first, caring about others, like that, like even just being others focused was just maybe not even something that was so common to me. And I just couldn't make friends for the life of me. And um and so then I really just gave up. And by the time I got to middle school, I was like, friends are overrated. All I need is myself. And my heart got hardened, like as is like a common way of putting it in like the Christian faith of like a hardened heart. And what finding God does is soften your heart, and that's the transformation that happens. And but I just had a self-imposed hardened heart, and the world, for whatever people, whatever it is, like the world will beat you down in a way that makes you put walls up and makes you hard and harden your heart. We need a soft heart to love ourselves and others well. And if you have a hard heart because you're protecting yourself, you're not able to experience love, like true love, the true love of friendship and family is what I mean, and or any kind. But you can't have that unless your heart is softened. Mine just got so hardened by middle school, and then obviously, if I was a terrible at making friends before, I was much worse at making friends once I decided they were completely overrated, and I was, better than everyone else anyways, and that's why I like didn't need friends, and that's why I'm so lame and unpopular right now in high school, but I'm gonna be so cool by the time I'm in college. Which like it did end up becoming true. In my opinion. Like I knew that was gonna happen. And I was like, there's a reason you don't want to peak. I was like, I'm not peaking now, but objectively, a peak must happen at some point. It's not right now, but it will happen objectively.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and again, there were good things that came out of that. An incredible amount of self-confidence, self-assurance, self-actualization, very much an individual, lived by my own set of rules. There were great things that come out of being all you need is yourself. Like you really can, get very far in life with that and have a lot of good positive qualities to come out of it. But obviously the hard ones are that you are so lonely and so alone and so isolated because you as in me, just thought that, you didn't need friends and it was overrated. And it's so crazy how that experience lasted. Like I was thinking back on the other day, it didn't feel like this was the reason at the time, but quite literally I did not really have friends, learn the value of friendship, learn how to be a good friend, actually make friends until right after I found God, like right after, really. Like it was my second year of college. That's when I ended up kind of first exploring my faith. And
which year?
My second year of college. And so I was like 5 years ago now. And when I came back though, like it's so funny to think of now, even like us reconnecting, just basically everyone really I really have like good friendships with. Either I like reconnected with after that point or met in that point. And obviously and it's just so funny, like the absolute reversals that happen and what you just uncover about yourself when you are not looking for it, that happens truly when you find God, or at least for me. I was someone who was going from a stance for my entire childhood, for all of middle school, high school, being like, friends are overrated, I do not need friends, to now I'm like crying, like praying on the floor every night, like, God, like, please send me a friend. Because I just want friends. I literally still pray about it. Like, literally write in my prayer journal, like, begging God about it. Still, like, dear God, please just send me, like, friends I can have. Like, I just want, like, now I'm in a new city, and that's great. It's come with so much, but, like, I'm, and just being so repentful for, like, friends I've lost. Like, honestly, like, of all the exes I, like, ever had, it's just so funny, but, like, I don't give a crap about any of them. Like, the only ex that, like, breaks my heart was, like, an ex-best friend I had who, I just love her so much. I don't even know if she would, like, know who she is when I'm, like, talking about it, but just, like, the hardest loss of my life, because I really don't think I never really experienced, like, love or friendship like that. Since I, like, met her, and we met, like, that same year that I'm talking about when I, like, came back to college, and yeah, I don't know, but just, it's still something now. Like, it's so funny that that was just something that was so certain to me when I was younger. It's like, friends are overrated, I don't need them, all I need is myself. And now, like, it took, like, so long to, like, still get to a place where now it's like, obviously it was a defense mechanism, obviously that's not truly what I feel, because now I still just, like, beg for, like, a friendship like that back. And I was still religious at the time that I, like, lost this friendship, like, with her, that I was just, had, like, a big head, and just, I mean, that was, like, a lesson from God if I ever needed one, was to, like, bring me such a beautiful friendship, and then for me to just take her for granted. And so funny, but literally, like, not a week goes by that I don't think about it. And yeah, anyways, I don't even know where I was, like, we even got to this, like, topic, but yeah, it's just so funny that your heart is softened, and just, I don't even know how we, like, got to that conversation, but basically, like, I was not a self-oriented person, but then clearly,
I mean, I definitely have had moments where I've had a big head. Absolutely. Like, we were young and stupid sometimes, and that's a saying for a reason, because when you are young, you can be very stupid.
yeah.
So, I've also had thoughts where I think everyone has in a lot of places, that people thought that they had a big head and things like that happen, and everyone has gone through friendship breakups because one person wasn't in the same mindset as the other.
They are brutal. They are brutal. Only ex I care about is her, like, the loss of our, like, friendship.
I mean, isn't that what they say? Like, best friend exes,
so bad.
Best friend breakups hurt more than boyfriend breakups.
I guess they do, but it's, like, so true. Like, I literally could not get one flying, like, F about any boyfriend I've ever had. I'm so sorry. Literally could not give a crap. But her, take all the heartbreak I've ever had in my life and, like, equivalent to, like, the loss of that. But it's just, I mean, what a good example, like, of just the absolute reversal. At least, again, for me, like, it's so crazy. You hear people talk about it, like, being transformed when you, like, find God and it changes your life. It is, like, I was one of those people. I was like, if you're religious, you're stupid. If you're religious, like, you are wacky, delusional, and just, like, need mental help and, like, therapy. But no, like, your heart is absolutely, completely transformed from, but, like, that difference. But I mean, I think, like, people who, I'm also a big believer in the fact that everyone goes through, like, hardship, just at the same hardships too, just at different stages of your life. luckily, when I was in middle school and high school, I wasn't wasting any mental energy being like, people don't like me or I don't have friends. I did not give a flying yet. All I was focused on was school. I was focused on like doing cool hobbies, playing the drums, like travel. I was like, I spent zero time feeling any amount of insecurity or lack of confidence because of what people around me thought, like my peers. I was saved from like that struggle during that period, but then, you just fast forward later in life and then you're crying on the floor because you just want friends so bad. So for a lot of people, maybe for them that was in middle school or that was in high school, but I truly believe in that concept that everyone has like the same struggles they do faith, just at different times of life. But yeah. Anyways, I think our initial question was, what's your spirituality? I don't know where we landed on that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm also like the worst person because I just like think of things and they just fly out my window because I just don't remember.
Okay. I mean, we can skip to another question I had, which was just because you are a guest who's like not Christian.
Yeah.
I guess I wanted to hear. This is such a change of topic for me, like sobbing, but
I was gonna say like how you said that when like people find their way with God and they follow Him, they have these new like meanings, and religion really does make you become a critical thinker. Like they make you think. They give you things to think about, which I think is really good for.
Definitely challenges you.
Challenges you.
Tells you to do things you don't want to do. Tells you to not things you really tells you to not do things you really do want to do. So definitely challenges you, that's for sure.
Yeah, challenges you and it makes you think in different perspectives. Like it makes you think of different perspectives that a lot of people don't actually do. And I think maybe because I grew up around religions and had those questions being told around me and having these people, challenge my thinking in those ways already, that maybe I didn't initially feel the be drawn to a religion specifically, I guess. So I do like when I go to church, I see, I hear their passages and stuff, and they just have very beautiful messages that I completely agree with. But for me, I just cannot imagine this person, or I don't even know how, I just can't imagine. My brain just doesn't accept that there's this thing that is, God has a plan for you. Someone else has a plan for me in my life that I'm creating myself. I don't know. It's just that kind of, is he an entity? What is he? How is he here?
And then do you, even with Buddhism though, do you also still the same thing?
Yeah, there's gods with 8 arms. I'm how?
Yeah.
Why do you have 8 arms?
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes I think when people have these visions, it's whatever, how many millions of years ago, thousands of years ago that Jesus was around, they say this is what he looked like. How do you know? How do you know what he looked like? But then someone told me that's because they had visions or something. I'm but how can you just, I don't know. Yeah. I think I'm very doubtful in the science, I guess I would say, behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason they call it faith. There's a reason it's faith. The whole point of it is you have to believe something with no proof or evidence behind it. And all I can say about that is even obviously I thought I was gonna do physics for the longest time. That's what I started in college as. So I was always physics and math oriented, and was this stuff is obviously ridiculous to believe in. This doesn't even make any sense. This is ridiculous. But obviously, from my experience, I was just in a low point, right? Had nothing to lose. Let me just explore it. Just curious, And then, really, it was just. It's not the intellect. I'm not in it or even believe any of it in terms of the intellectual part of it. That it's a physical reality in the same way with the 8 arms or something like that. It's not it's a physical reality that is the reason I believe in it, or that I have faith in it. You see the evidence, gravity. We can't see gravity, but we know and trust that it's there because we see the consequences of it. We see the effects of it, even if we don't physically see it moving.
Right.
And with my journey in faith, at least, I believe and like continue to believe that there's a God there that has this plan for me and knows me and is there for me and I can talk to at any time, because I've seen the effects of it in my life, like having that belief, if that makes sense. Like I can't see it, but I've seen the effects of it. And there's simply just no going back at this point. Like I cannot see that like transformation that's happened, nor do I want to. And that's like one way of getting around it. But yeah, I guess like I felt the same way. I was just like, but the Red Sea, like the parting of it, I don't know, like walking on water, the miracles part. Before I was Christian, I was like, what is, like that just doesn't seem, like can I get behind that? I don't know.
Do you think that actually happened in the Bible, or do you see it more as like a, like, what's the word for, metaphor?
Yeah, like symbolic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good question. Honestly, most of my faith is mostly in like the teachings of Jesus, my relationship with Jesus, my relationship with God, and then my daily actions and way that I see others and events happening around me. And I'd say most of the Bible that's in more of like the miraculous realm, like seems impossible to believe, would be, I do kind of just see it as like symbolic, as a literary story, in the same way that like with kids movies, we have like Zootopia. Do the kids really believe? Like we don't need to believe that there's a physical place out there with bunnies and wolves and tigers to understand the meaning of what it's trying to say. That's the point of a story, and you put it in a certain way to use literary devices and make it entertaining and make it poetic. A lot of the Bible is also poetry.
That's how I've always viewed it as well.
Yeah, so I would say like, I don't know what that is, but I would say, like, for me personally, I do see the Bible as, if there's anything that I can't like physically get behind, no matter what, it's put there in the Bible for a reason, and it's symbolic of the message behind it. And that's mainly like how I think of it. I don't really spend too much time doubting or wrestling with my faith because of like the lack of physical reality part, but that's also just because I've seen there are things like, just again, I mean, the effects of going from like just who I was, how I thought from before I found God to after. It's just, you can't tell me that isn't a miracle, or that is change that happened and is true and real, even if someone's like heart posture, like how they view the world and people behind them, isn't something you could physically see. But if you could like physically see the embodiment of like what my heart looked like before and after coming to God, like you would see it's physically different. And yeah. So that's like one way to get to it. And honestly, like I knew you were gonna ask something similar to this. Like, so I do have like my full out, more like philosophical argument for faith that is with science, but I don't know what was it? What?
Oh, you don't know what?
But it's so long, and I'm in such like an emotional mode right now. It's very like
more emotions.
Yeah, maybe we do more emotional stuff. Yeah, maybe we do like more emotional stuff. And I will touch on. I'll make a whole video on the whole, more like philosophical, scientific perspective arguments of faith that aren't compatible with science, or at least how I see it. But I mean, you already got me like sobbing, so we should just like more of like the mushy stuff. I mean, let me see if I have any more questions for you while you're like on here. Oh yes, I do have one. Okay, so this is more of because you're not Christian, of course, but so do you have any? What are your stereotypes that you have of Christianity, like good or bad? This is another thing I want to ask people who come on who aren't Christian, because another point of the podcast and the movement is to like update and refresh and get rid of essentially just negative stereotypes.
Yeah.
But so it's fun and interesting to ask people like who aren't Christian, what do you think of Christians and Christianity from the outside, good or bad?
Yeah, I think most of my stereotypes have been like most of my interactions with Christians and Catholics and just all that in general have been very positive. I've been like I do know that there are some people who've had interactions that were negative and they would say like especially towards like political stuff. There's like a lot of negative things about that people seem to boil down to like oh because they're Christian or because like that. But I don't know, like as like people, I just think people are beautiful in general. Everyone has good in them. Everyone has a positive thing in them. And every time I've met someone, I'm like, okay, so I guess
I don't want your PC answer either. Like, just give me your actual thoughts. Like I want it to be. I just want it to be real. Like, this is more like a social experience. Like, what do people who are? I can tell you what I thought about Christianity before I was Christian, and it wasn't good. So
I think like growing up, I have been with a lot of people that had the same thoughts that you used to have about Christianity. Like how it was just like, what did they say, like blind faith, and like they just needed someone or something to guide them just because they couldn't, find in themselves to do it. Like just things like that I've heard and I've been surrounded by. Like I never argue with them, but I've also never thought too much about it because I'm just like, that's not me, and I'm not gonna be mean to someone who I don't, But I've just never connected to all that. And also like I remember going to church for the first time in a long time, and they would all be speaking in unison, and that kind of like shocked me for a moment because I was like, oh my gosh, that's like so crazy. Everyone just knows. In a way, I guess. Yeah.
That's what I thought again.
Yeah. I don't want to be mean, but like in a way, I guess, because I was just like, what is going on? But also like super cool. You guys all sound like awesome. But I just I don't know. And sometimes I also had to like Google like what is the difference between religion and a cult, because sometimes I was just like at the time I did not.
What'd you find?
I found that there is a difference.
Yeah. My favorite response to stuff like that is like, everyone is a follower of something, so who are you following? I am a follower, but I was following stuff before I was following Jesus, in my opinion. I just think I'm better off following a great person with great teachings, who just wanted to be a good person in the world, than following a celebrity as like my role model or something like that.
I mean, there was definitely a point in my life where I did, like a lot of people did when they have social media, they like had followers, like people, they would follow me like, oh my gosh, I love her feed, I want to like be like that, like I want to take photos, let me get inspiration from this person.
Also, the word follower, it was hitting me today when I was doing some like Bible study, that like a big part of like Christian faith and teaching and like terminology is like follow. You like follow Jesus. Like Jesus, one of like the first things, I think one of the first things we're ever even told Jesus says in the Bible is, come, drop everything and follow me. And to me, I just think it's so crazy now to like think about the word follow, following someone is immediately ubiquitous. Like you probably even use it in a regular conversation like multiple times a day. And now it's so crazy that so much of our world is like trying to get a following. Like, follow me, I follow this person. Like, we actively say who we follow every single day. We're following like 1,800 people on Instagram or whatever. It's so interesting, that term follow. Like, who are you following?
Right.
You're looking at their life. You're looking at what they do. You're looking at what they wear. You're thinking at what they say. And you follow people because you want to follow them. You want to see what they're up to.
Like inspirational.
Nosy, but also like you want to be them.
Yeah.
And that's what it means to have a big following. Same way with the term influence. Like, it's so funny that to me, I always think about this a lot, because I would say like at heart, my like dream job, whatever I always wanted to do was a philosopher, like to be a philosopher at heart. What's so funny is if you want to ask like what makes the success, how do you define success as a philosopher? Well, it's how influential are your theories. It's your influence. The more successful a philosopher you are, the more influential you are in your times, not just now, but thousands of years from now. What is your influence on the world? That's what success means as a philosopher. And it's so funny that now people want, like, influencer, to be someone who influences the world around you because people want to be like you or do what you do.
Yeah.
It's literally some people's, like, career. It's so sought after. I bet if you were to ask, you know, like, Gen Z, maybe more like women too, but like Gen Z women, what do you want to be? Like, what's your dream job? Probably an influencer. Basically, to get paid to have people just like you so much, they want to do everything you do. People pay you to use their products or something. Isn't that so interesting that, like, influencing the world around you is now, like, one of the most top coveted careers, which is so crazy. And it just was hitting me so hard, literally just this morning when I was doing Bible study, just thinking, like, what Jesus wants is for us to follow him. Yeah. And to be this is more, like, relevant for me, but, like, to be a philosopher, what is success? Having influence, like, literally being an influencer. But, like, Marcus Aurelius, the influencer, you know what I mean? Like, you influence Aristotle. You're influencing thoughts and theories of generations after you in perpetuity. Yeah. That is a real influencer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I right? Yeah.
Wow.
So, isn't that crazy? And so I'm just like, okay, this is so funny because, yeah, like, we use those terms all the time, but they carry significant weight. These are deep terms.
They do, yeah.
To follow someone, to influence the world around you. Those are, like, deep terms that obviously are getting completely, you know, muddled in, like, social media age, but, you know.
Yeah. No, I do.
There's some, like,
I think
substance there.
Yeah. Going.
Who do you follow? Here's my
question. That's your question. That was
my question. I know who I follow. Who do you follow?
I follow morals, I guess, or just whose views.
Whose views?
My own, I guess.
You follow your own,
or like ones that I've learned from other people that I've connected to and thought was great.
Like which ones?
I mean, ones a lot from that I hear from my Christian friends and family, and Buddhism, and my grandmother, who I love so much, and my other grandmother, who's awesome. And it's just like a lot of, my cousin, she's also great. She's very intelligent. Like, I just find, I guess that's why I also love people, because I just find, like, a little piece of gold in everybody, and I just... Here's
maybe more of a specific way to put it. What person has the life that you aspire to? Like,
I don't hold people on a pedestal like that anymore. I used to. Yeah. And I would go on social media a lot. Like, that's what I was saying before. Like, I would go on social media. I don't even mean this in, like, a bad way. I just mean, like, what person's life do you, like, want to have when you grow up? Like, is there, or no one's like you, like? I like, no, I like your mom communicator. Like, whose life do you want to have? Maybe not my own. Yeah. I don't see someone and I'm like, that's exactly what I want, because what I want is so very, like, everyone's life is slightly different to what I want. That's true too. If there's no one out there in the world living the kind of life you want to have, then that's also, like, I remember you telling me about Paris Hilton and how they, like, celebrate their monthly anniversary, and they go traveling that is awesome. But also, would I want that every single month to go and, like, do these things to, like, speak for yourself? I mean, like, probably yes, but everything that she does, is that what make me happy? Every single thing that she does? Probably not. No. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, everyone has parts of their life, which is what I was saying, like, parts of people and, like, what they say, and that speaks to me, then it's like, it kind of builds me up in a way, but I don't hold anyone to that high pedestal that, like, I want to be like them. Yeah, like, that's amazing, because I found it in myself, which was a long journey in myself as well, because I valued other people's validation and, like, love to, like, love myself. Yeah. And that was a long journey in myself. Are you a people pleaser? Absolutely. You know what's so funny? I don't know if we already had this talk, but I think we did at one point, but another thing that is so, just tells you so much about, like, God changing your heart is, again, I think it was you who I was talking about with this, but, like, I was like, I think I'm becoming a people pleaser, and I was so overjoyed. Like, I could probably, like, become some tears over it. Because, and now I'm like, I want to be a people pleaser. Like, I'm, like, striving toward, like, I know it's, like, a dirty word or, like, a negative word in a lot of instances, but for me being someone who grew up just so selfish and self-centered,
Like the fact that I'm like, oh my god, I think I'm letting people like walk all over me. I think I'm like becoming a pushover.
Even the trend, like
to me, like
it's not.
This
a
is
bad
a beautiful thing. Like I don't know. To
you
me,
want people to feel happy being in your
yes,
presence. How is that a bad thing?
Yes, like to me, I am like, praise Lord, because this is like so different. Obviously, there's restraints from it, but the reason I'm able to celebrate it is because I'm never gonna lose like the parts of myself that were confident, self-sufficient, self-assured, will stand up for myself. You know, I'm never gonna lose my sense of independence. That was what was so default to me. It's not going anywhere ever, no matter how hard I try. But to now get to have like a strong sense of independence, a strong sense of self, and be able to be a giving person, like that was such a win for me. I was like, guys, I finally get to see what the other side is like. Like I'm becoming a people pleaser. Like this is such a win for having been such a self-centered like B word so much of my life. Like I was like owning it. Like this is such like a win for me. Like I'm just overjoyed. But for you, obviously, it was like a reversal. Like for you, the win is being able to stick up for yourself and not let people walk over you and have a sense of self completely detached from the thoughts of others around you. Like that. And that's what I'm saying. Like everyone has the same struggle in life. They hide it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they have it at different times.
Yeah.
I got the win of like, I know exactly who I am and I don't need people around me to tell me.
Yeah.
Whole life, but could not figure out how to be there for others.
Yeah.
That was a struggle at a different time in life. And now you know, it was so natural to you, like giving, like people pleasing is what comes naturally. But you had to learn, you had to have the struggle of, okay, well, how do I not let people take advantage of me just because I'm trying to be kind and nurture them?
Yeah.
And yeah, so another good example of that is that change that you had, which was great.
Yeah.
And wonderful. What do you think helped you come to
that?
Like
I
how
think
did
honestly
that
just
happen?
growing up in general, getting older and mature definitely helped. Also traveling helped me so much because when I was alone and traveling, I'm like, no one is there to stick up for me.
Everyone should travel if you can. If you can't, DM me. I will start a women's travel fund just so like girls can go travel and see the world. We both got blessed. I got blessed with having so much travel in my life. That was like a huge part of my entire
personality. Like my whole family loves to travel, so I was just very grateful in that sense. I already knew how to travel. I already knew how to like save up money to do this. Like people would save up money for concerts and festivals and like save up money for a new car, and I'm like, I'm saving up for a year. Like, what are you talking about? Like I never really was a big spender in other things. Yeah. There's so much that comes from it. I mean, I could talk forever. We probably both could talk forever about just the joys of travel, solo travel, how important it is. So that doesn't surprise me at all that you learned great independence and and also like friendships, like having friendships that, you know, come and go and friendships that end. Like you just learn something from it, and I've definitely learned a lot of things from each friendship, negative or positive, that I've had. Especially when like you're someone who moves from different countries a few times in their life, like I have, you will naturally just distance and not really like, oh, I haven't really talked to that person in 4 months, but then you know you just never really contact. Like it happens a lot. Yeah. But then and again, in that sense, like I could be like, I hate this. Like I never want to move again. I never want to like settle down roots and like make friends because I'm just going to not be friends with them again. But I see positive in each friendship that I had with that person, and also I gained such strong friendships with people who I did stay connected with. Yeah. Like I have friendships in Australia that I still have with people because we're just so deep in our friendship, and like you just really like you just like kind of like root out all the. I don't know, you just like find your really deep connections. I'm such a huge believer in the sign of a friendship is like if you can be on different continents, not speak to each other for months, in our case decades, so I think we win this one, and then come back and it's like nothing happened. Yeah. I think that's a great sign of a friendship. I do too, but some friends don't. Like I've had friends who I thought were like, oh, these are best friendships. Oh no, we just were like living together, so we saw each other every single day. But now you don't live together, you're not friends anymore. So that's very different than like best friendships where you are
literally continents apart, maybe don't speak for months.
No.
And
but you're so secure in your friendship with each other, like you know that they still think about you and care about you.
One of my dear friends is Marie. We only got we were roommates. We lived together. She lives in France, but we were together for just like a couple of months, like 3 months in person. We were roommates together, and then she went back to France. But I still consider her one of my like absolute best friends. I went out to visit her in France. We like only talk maybe every, couple of months, 3 to 6 months. But I still have so much like love for her and feel such a strong connection to her. She's like recently she was like in New York for the week. I think she's like there right now. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm flying up there to see you. Like I will like do anything to see you. It's probably not gonna work out realistically, but like I don't need to see her every single day. Like this is, and and it's like if you're with someone who you're just compatible, you actually have just a stronger basis of friendship other than just seeing each other every day, then you don't need to have any worries or feel like if you're both good people, if you both care, like see the value of friendship, see the value of female friendship, and are willing and able to put in just the little amount of effort that takes to continue, then you don't need to be in the same country, same continent to be friends, close friends, or even talk to each other that often. And
and that's exactly how it goes a lot of the time.
Yeah, so true. Okay, I feel like we should start wrapping it up because I think, should we go get crepes after this? Let's go do something fun and get crepes. Okay, yeah, let's go do something fun after this for your last day in Miami. And I guess the last question I want to leave off with, which is, again, this is kind of like the first guest I've had on who isn't a Christian girl for our Christian Women's Podcast, which is totally okay. But I'm sure we all learned and gained so much from this conversation. And I think that typically the ending question I was gonna have is like give your advice for young women with God, but it doesn't have to be that. Like for you, it could just be, would you mind sharing some advice you have for other young women in their 20s on female friendship, on travel, on independence, on literally anything you want? But feel free to leave off with any sort of advice you have for girls.
Sure. I think that you can be told 101 different things that I have learned in my life and that I've actually come down to. I have probably been told that 10 times by 10 different people in 10 different stages of my life. You actually have to go out and seek for it and find it and do it yourself and do the work, because like people say, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make the horse drink. Yeah. Like you have to try to do it yourself. If you don't want to be a person with more of a growth mindset, if you don't want and strive to do something and broaden out your mindset of your thoughts and empathy or whatever it is that you want to do, you have to do it. That kind of didn't make any sense.
So
but
true.
Also,
no, I totally get it.
You have to make yourself happy. You can make everyone else around you in the world happy, but you actually have to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
And
your responsibility.
But
fully in your power also.
Yeah. You have the power, but you also have the power to do for it. So you need to make sure that you are thinking and being nice. Just be nice.
Yes. I love it. We got lots of good advice there. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for blessing our community with your wonderful thoughts and conversation. And remember, you guys, you can absolutely have besties who are not Christian, and you guys can learn from each other. And who knows, though, maybe I will one day convert Zara. Or not that that's the plan, but we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But anyways, yes, okay, love you. Thanks for coming on, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye. Oh my god. That was only 18 minutes. That must have been longer.
18?
It might have been longer.